The aftermath. Guys, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I want to jump on and do a quick chat on the aftermath of the elections. And as the dust settles, where are we in the present moment? And not to go and get, I'm not really into doing um, things like politics, but I want to talk about on a different level of that, right? So our energetics, our energy, our vibration, our thoughts, our beliefs, our anger, our fear, our stress, and our things that are overtaking us, the overwhelmment of the results of it, right? The aftermath, when the dust clears. And as we're in the Great Awakening, things like this arise so that the darkness can come up and be seen. And so if you look at it from that point of view, where are you? What and have you done and been during this whole time as it was going on? Did you defriend people, right? Separation, hatred, anger, just because they're choosing a different person than you? Were you in fear? Are you in fear of your own existence? Are you in fear that people are taking your power away? These are things to look at, in the aftermath. Where are you? What are your feelings? What is bringing it up, right? It's like a trigger, right, for your existence. Where are you on that timeline? And to work on those things, right? Because anytime there's anything that isn't in line with love, is something that we want to work on. We want to take a look at it. And that's why things are arising and things that are coming up as what we're going through and things that we're doing, where we are in our lives. And we are always navigating these things on a regular daily basis. It's just when things like this rise, it takes control over us. And yes, we want to stand up for our own power and the things that we believe in and acceptance so we can be who we truly are without other people being controlling or conditioning us to be a certain way and expecting others that we be and live up to their expectations. And so that is the quality of a life that we're looking for. That is the quality of sensation and being that we're looking for, which is just to live life in harmony and just to be who we are and allowing others to just accept that, right? And that's love. That's being who we truly are in existence without any other thing, without the conditions, the basis of it, which is the realization of who we are underneath all the underlining things that we are participating in and doing. And it's the things that bring in separation, like the elections, the choosing, the environments, the churches, religions, everything that brings you separate from your own true self, that you're putting in power in place, which divides you not only from others, but from source. Because whenever you're in a space that you're residing or being in the experience of the arising emotions, thoughts, and beliefs around what you're doing is not love, bliss, happiness, or joy or abundance, then you're separate, right? And these are the conditions that we've been placed in and been put in for eons over time. And its existence of that keeps replaying out over time until we're ready to look at it and take a look at it and accept others and ourselves for who we truly are and how we want to be in the world. And that is not saying, with the allowance or accepting that somebody should harm another, but it's living in harmony, not against each other. And it's so funny because, like, I was watching a video. I tried to stay off, social media, but when I'm posting, sometimes I see posts, and it looks like they're doing like this blue bracelet scenario to identify and separate further of who this one is and who this one is. And just like the vaccine, who has the vaccine, who doesn't, who has the red pill. And it's funny, they're using blue bracelets, right? Who's blue, who's red? Is it the red pill or the blue pill that you're taking, the matrix, right? So kind of look at all these scenarios and put the pieces together. It's not funny, but it is a relatively funny when you can step back from the situation and see it from that instead of being in it. Because when you're in those situations, you're in the rising of what is still the darkness that hasn't come to light yet, that is within you. And yes, there's fear. Yes, there's anger. Yes, there's hatred that's going to come up because it's the fear of people taking control over you. But it's only when you allow that to happen, right? And then you're not standing up for it, right? So kudos to you guys who are standing up, but a lot of people are saying, oh, because now they're rebellion against decision that was made, right? Against person who won and those who follow them and support that person. You know, it was the same thing when the other one won. And it goes back and forth. You know, there's always going to be that rebellion, that separation that we keep doing and keep replaying out over and over and over again. And it's not in celebration of who is taking place. It's a fight against each other, right? Which is separation. And that's the point of these things that are put in place. It's the separation. It separates you from another. Now you have, what are you going to do, right? You're going to go to work after you've hated on somebody. Now you have to face them, right? So these are things we want to look at. You know, what arose within myself during this time frame, and where am I now with it? What can I see about myself? I'm all about self work, right? Self navigation, trying to look at certain things. Is this me? Is this my reflection? What am I seeing in them? Am I in judgment? I'm all about working on myself and navigating the world. And that's just what I've been doing since my awakening, right? And that's what I've been trained into, you know, by spirit guides, and how, you know, the channeling and everything, that the messages that I bring forth is always to look at yourself, turn in, master yourself, align with source, be love. And it's not about being love, because we can't always love another person, right? That's why it's to be in like. It's not really love. We frame it as love, but the only one that's love is source, right? So we can only be in like to love, right? Because we can't have that type of love here. We can't exist on a long-term basis in that state of love. There are some beings that can, if you practice it every and all day, right? You just have to be in the awareness of that you're outside of love, which is existence of source, which is your disconnection from your highest state of being, that you can be in this existence. You can have that state of being. It's just a different kind of love, right? From that existence and your awareness where you are. Everything is in the name of love, because even your suffering is. It's for you to see that the awakening is that you're not in alignment with love. So whenever you're suffering, you're outside of love, right? That's the conditioned part of you that we're seeing from, that is arising up, that is coming through to get rid of it, right? It's not you, because you're not your emotions, you're not your thoughts, you're not your beliefs, you're not your body. Though we believe we are because we're in it, we're consumed by it, right? And we've allowed that to take the place of source. We haven't learned, many of us, to live in the world without being of the world, which is a channeling that I've done, and is also from, you know, famous, what is it? I think Jesus said that, right? To be in the world but not of it. Um, and you know, these are sayings that's been shown and taught us to us through eons, right? And it's like, you know, it's just trying to navigate the world right now in this time, because it's a great awakening. And though maybe it didn't go in your way, or maybe it did, in either way, what other side, red or blue, the red pill or the blue pill, look at it, right? And do the work, because even if you did win, are you hating on that other person who didn't win? Are you shaming them, hurting them? What are you doing, right? It's not, it's reflective of you, right? Because although you're projecting on them and acting out towards them, and whatever the case may be, it's coming from you, and you're acting it out on that perception that you have in that reality. So what other side you're on, it doesn't matter. It's what came up and through you that we want to view and look at it, right? And that was a channeling the next morning, after the results came in. And it was to share that. I have it on my Facebook. If you want to go and read that post, I have Facebook. So basically, you know, it's the aftermath of any and all situations. It's just a situation, because it's not about the situation. It's about what arises within that situation that brings it up, that we want to see and look at it and view it from, and to transform it into alignment with source. And how can we do that? Navigating that world, seeing it from that perspective. Okay, out of alignment with love, which is source, right? That's our North Star. Anytime you're out of alignment with the North Star, which is source, which is love, then, you know, there's work to be done, right? And it's not about put it on another person, waiting for somebody else to save us because he isn't coming to save us. We got to do the work. We come here to do the work, right? We come here to transform, evolve, raise our consciousness, our awareness, helping others in the process, because when we are doing our own work, we're helping others to do their work, right? Because then we are then leaders, we're not followers. And that came in the other day too, is like somebody had made a post that there's more followers than there are observers and leaders. And that's because the majority of our followers, right? And that's where we come in, we're followers, right? When we're born, what do? We look up to, we forget ourselves from this high, we come in and we look up to people who have been here and we follow them, right? And we become forgetful of our true existence and we become this humanized version, a conditioned form. So many of us are, right? We come in unless we stay awake or we are able into, we come into that environment where we can stay awake, right? Otherwise, we're shut down and closed off from love, right? Which is our divine being, right? And then from that point of view, there's so many followers, right? And then the observers are the ones waking up and they become the observers, right? There's a little bit more observers, but then there's actually only fewer doers. The ones who, from the point, once they become the followers to the observers, then the ones who are actually taking action, which are more like, and more so, the ones who do change, the ones who bring change, the spiritual teachers, the spiritual beings, the healers, the angels, the guides, the ones that come in and help channel the information. Those are the ones that after seeing, okay, this is not right, then it's time to make change. But there's a lot of followers, and then there's a lot of observers who don't make change or don't want to do anything, and they just continue to live life from that space. But then there's the ones who are the observers and know that change needs to be made, right? And so they take action, right? And so we have that kind of life moving through us, right? So we have, yes, that makes, and when that came in, I was like, well, that makes sense, right? And I don't know the statistics on it, and she kind of went off on it. It was like something that came from TikTok. You may have seen it, but that's what Spirit showed me in relation to what she was saying on TikTok. But yeah, we have the followers, and then we have, because they don't know themselves, they're separates, right? And then we have those who are the observers who are waking up, and then we have the ones who choose to do something about it, right? And so when we are in the state of doing something about it, making change, we're helping to raise the vibration, right? To bring about change in the world. So it's about the evolution of the path of what we're doing and where we are and what we're choosing. That either brings about the suffering or the bliss of our existence, right? And we're healing little by little, because not everybody's going to awaken at the same time, and not everybody's going to be or ready to do that. And they share that with me all the time, even since the beginning of the time when my awakening came. That was one of the first things that got downloaded to me. Not everybody is going to be ready or willing to change. People are still under the illusion that Jesus is coming back and going to do it for them, and they are forgiven. They can do whatever they want, but yet they're still forgiven, right? Yeah, on the other side, but here, you're here to do the work, right? And so, even though everything is done and forgiven on their side, you still have to do the life review. You still will most likely want to come back in, and it's not a one done life situation. It's a continuous rhythm and pattern of evolution that we take on multiple lifetimes, right? And so you're not just one and done with one life like religions think, and then you're just forgiven and then you're done, right? And you go to heaven or hell. It's not like that, right? So that's just a condition that we live in and that we believe in. And so that's another thing, that separation, because then you have, oh, well, I believe in this, so I'm better and you're not because you don't. And so you're going to hell, things like that, when really none of that exists, right? None of that exists on the other side. It's just here. It's just you're conditioned. And these are things that are being brought up through this great awakening time, that we can see it and deal with it and move through it and transform it, right? And what am I doing? How am I being in the world? How am I existing? And this is for everybody. It's not just for one side or the other, one color or the other, one perspective or another. It's for everybody, right? So everybody needs to do their part in the existence in the world and changing, and it's within. It's a self work. It's not outside changing somebody else. You have to do your own work, and then the world outside you changes. And so basically wanted to just jump on and just discuss some of that aftermath, as the dust is kind of settling in, and what is next, right? And just be in alignment with source and love, and that's all that you can ever do, is just be your true self. And whenever there's something that comes next, arises, just allow that to flow through. See it. It's the forever changing evolution of consciousness, right? And so it's not a good or bad thing. It's not something to be worshiping and praising and or shaming anyone for, right? It's the concept of where we are on the timeline, the evolution of ourselves, our soul, what we're seeing, and the concept for that to collapse, right? You basically have to be in line with source and stop participating in it, because whenever you're participating in the elections on it all the time, you're participating in separating. You're participating in that separation, right? Which is to divide everybody from another, which is in its own existence of where you are. And so from where you are, you then get to see by what's arising with you, is your attention to it, your framework, your thing that is to be worked on, because everybody has their own stuff that we are needing to work on, right? So doing the work, the shadow work, the evolution of the soul, the perception, the reality, the identity, the creation of things that we don't want in the world doesn't happen by shifting presidents. It happens within you, right? It's the changing of evolution of time, which is a timeline that you're currently living on, which is either highest or the lowest that you bring forward, right? And so that is you being in the play as the player and the beer and the doer in your own existence on the timeline that you currently are on, right? And seeing it from that existence that you are one with source. You're not separate. You're in the matrix, but you're not it, right? So you're not you yourself. Your true self is not conditioned. Your framework is. When we come into this existence to play in the framework, it's all here because we don't take it any with us. So that's proof it doesn't exist beyond here. We leave it all here, and when we come in, we take up the play. This is where it all is. This is the battleground, the playing field that we're playing the change, like the game of Othello, right? And it brings us to that place. Where is our next action, our next move going to be, and how are we playing the game, right? True to ourselves or false from ourselves. We can play it any way that we choose because we have free will in choosing what we want to do. But in the mainframe, if you're not wanting it to be that way, then don't participate in it, because that will then collapse time frame of that existence, right? And so in reference or in frame of the elections, if everybody stopped doing it, then we wouldn't have it, right? Because it's only when you keep it alive that you are constantly participating in it, right? And you participating just because others would win is fear, right? Again, another separation. It's challenging to see it from this point of view, but when you are able to see it from this point of view, because you're doing the work, the self work, the shadow work, then you can recognize it whenever it comes up through you. It's not who you are, right? Your emotions are not who you are. Your thoughts are not who you are. Your body, your identity, your form is not who you are. You're beyond that. It's the realization of who you are in this space-time reality, that you're being that existence. And when you're shadowed by it, you can't see outside of it. And so you think you are it, right? It's have contained you. It's like that famous psychologist, right? When you're in the cave, right? You don't know anything else but that cave. And so when you live in that reality, you can't see beyond it, right? You can't see what's outside of it. It's the framework that you want to step out of the matrix and look at it from that point of view, right? And so it's from that point of view that you can make change, right? What is it that you want to do? And it's like the life reviews that I help people with. And when I experienced that on the other side, when I had my crossing over, I did a life review, and then also a second one when I came back. like you're viewing it out, right? Like look at your play, look at your life, and pick and choose from what you really want, what you don't want, and don't participate in what you don't want, right? Because if you keep choosing it, you're going to keep playing in it. You're going to keep adding to it. You're going to keep participating in creating more of it, right? So what is it that you choose in life from that perspective of wherever it is that you are, either love or separate from it? And that's the only thing, the only choice you have really is to choose love over anything and all else. Hopefully that helps. I'm going to wrap it up there. If you have any questions, reach out. If you want to do a session, reach out. If you want to do a life review, let me know. Happy journeys.